They tell you it is love. That is not what the brain is doing. Anxious attachment is not a personality. It is a nervous system that treats inconsistency like a puzzle it has to solve. A delayed text is not a delay, it is a threat. A warm night followed by a cold morning is not mood. It is a slot machine. And the human mind did not evolve to walk away from a slot machine. It evolved to keep pulling. This is WhyLab, quiet science for the questions no one else asks. Here is the first mistake almost everyone makes. They treat anxious attachment as too much love, as if the person who checks the phone at 2 in the morning is simply more romantic than the person who sleeps. That story is flattering. It is also false. What looks like devotion is often a threat detection system that never learned the all-clear signal. In the late 1960s, Mary Ainsworth watched how infants used a caregiver as a base. Some children protested when the caregiver left and settled when they returned. Some barely reacted. Some could not settle even after reunion. Those patterns were not poetry, they were strategies. The anxious strategy is loud for a reason. If closeness is unpredictable, protest becomes a tool. Cry harder, reach faster, monitor more. The child is not being dramatic. The child is trying to turn an unreliable signal into a reliable one. Adults do the same thing with partners. The tools change. The math does not. You reread the last message. You invent 3 meanings for a period at the end of a sentence. You feel relief when they finally reply, and the relief is so sharp it feels like love. That sharpness is not proof you found the one. It is proof your nervous system just came down from alarm. John Bowlby called attachment a biological system. Your body treats certain people like home. When home becomes intermittent, the system does not shut off. It turns up the volume, heart rate, vigilance, rehearsed conversations, the urge to send one more message that will finally make the picture clear. Clarity is the drug. The partner is only the dispenser. This is why anxious people so often fall for people who do not want them, or only want them sometimes. It is not a curse. It is a match between 2 systems. One system scans for abandonment. The other system needs space the moment closeness arrives. Together, they create a loop. Pursue, withdraw. Pursue harder, withdraw further. Each side can write a story where they are the reasonable one. The loop does not care about the story. The loop only cares that the pattern keeps paying just enough to stay alive. Intermittent reward is older than dating apps. In the laboratory, a reward that arrives on an unpredictable schedule holds attention longer than a reward that arrives every time. The brain codes maybe as more urgent than yes. A partner who is consistently kind becomes background. A partner who is kind on Tuesday and gone on Wednesday becomes a project. Anxious attachment is what it feels like from the inside when your bonding system has been trained on maybe. Listen to the language, not, I enjoy this person. They say, I cannot stop thinking about them. I need to know where we stand. If I could just get them to understand. That is not romance vocabulary. That is unfinished business vocabulary. The mind hates an open loop. An inconsistent partner is an open loop with a face. There is a second layer, and it is less discussed. Anxious attachment is often paired with a harsh inner critic. The critic says, if you were easier to love, they would stay. So the person does not only chase the partner, they chase a repaired self. They try to become less, or more, or quieter, or funnier, until the other person finally chooses them in a clean way. The tragedy is that the person who only chooses you after you disappear was never going to choose the real you. They were choosing the distance. If you are still here, you already know this is not a dating tip video. Subscribe to WhyLab if you want the mechanism, not the pep talk. It helps this research reach the next person sitting in that same impossible room, staring at a screen that will not light up. Now the part people lie about, chemistry. Chemistry in this pattern is often recognition. The nervous system meets a familiar temperature, hot, then cold, present, then fog. It feels like destiny because it feels like childhood, or like the first love that taught you love is something you earn by monitoring. Secure warmth can feel boring at first. Boring is what safety feels like when you were trained on alarm. That sentence makes people angry. It also explains a decade of choices. None of this means the avoidant partner is a villain. Avoidance is another strategy. If closeness once meant engulfment or criticism or a parent who needed you too much, then space becomes oxygen. The avoidant person is not always cruel. They are often flooded. Your protest, which feels like love to you, feels like a demand to them. Their silence, which feels like abandonment to you, feels like self-protection to them. Two survival systems, both convinced they are the reasonable one. So why do people stay? Because pair bonding and threat are sharing a circuit. Losing the person can feel like losing oxygen, even when keeping them costs sleep, dignity, and friends who are tired of the same story. A nervous system will not choose peace over a bond it still codes as home. That is not weakness. That is how attachment is built. And why do some people finally leave? Same machinery, different weights. The cost of staying becomes a death of self. The open loop stops paying. A third person, or a therapist, or sheer exhaustion, installs a new rule. Inconsistency is information, not a riddle. When that rule lands, the slot machine looks like a slot machine. The spell breaks in a quiet, unromantic way. You stop writing the speech. You put the phone face down. You feel grief, and under the grief, a strange flatness that is actually relief. Notice what this is not. It is not proof that you are broken, or that they are evil, or that one gender does this and the other does not. Anxious attachment shows up in every culture that raises children on unpredictable care. The dating market did not invent it. The dating market only gave it a faster clock. The relationship usually does not break on the first disappearing act. It breaks in the unglamorous middle. The third time they go cold after a good weekend. The apology that is tender and empty. The future talk that never becomes a plan. Those are not mixed signals. They are the signal. The anxious mind keeps averaging them toward hope because hope reduces panic in the short term. Hope is a sedative. It is not a forecast. So if you are in this, stop asking the cartoon question, why do I love people who do not want me? Ask the adult question, what did inconsistency teach my nervous system to call love? And what would I have to feel for a while if I only stayed where the signal is boringly clear? There is no clean scientific answer that makes the waiting polite. There is only a clearer map. Attachment is a system. Intermittent closeness trains that system to hunt. The hunt can feel like fate. It is closer to a habit with a heartbeat. If this gave you language for something you could not say to the person who still has not texted back, stay with WhyLab. The next question is already waiting. Subscribe. Quiet Science for the questions no one else asks.